Welcome to
What?
The game.
Me.
To me.
All right, there we go. We're live again. Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of What the Game Means to Me's NFL Smack Talk Smackdown. Tonight we got the great guys of the NFC North, representing and fighting for the pride of their team. Got some pretty good guys on hand, so it's gonna be another great episode. I'm gonna let everybody go around, introduce themselves, and I'm gonna start up here at the top, right beside me, Casey.
All right. Hey, thanks for having me on. Casey, Twitter handle Prof Badger fan there, here to represent the Green Bay Packers. I co-host with Marlo, which you see here, and the Hideous Bears hat. We host the 132 Breeze podcast, where we talk about our common goal is, or commonality is, the Wisconsin Badgers, college football, college basketball. We diverge on almost everything else, including here in the NFC North, with the Packers and the Bears. Should I go into my Packer spiel then here? Or just introduce me?
Yeah, we're going to you got plenty of time for that.
All right. That's who I am. Here we go.
Let's go. Ken.
What's going on, beautiful people? I'm Kenton Gibbs, TGIF_Kenton on Twitter. I am 1/3 of the Facts Over Acts podcast, a Detroit native. I am here to represent my Detroit Lions the only way I know how. You know what I mean? I respect my opponents, but the Lions are the Lions are the Lions, and historically that's been a bad thing. But I'm gonna tell y'all why that's gonna turn around.
I love it. Can't wait to hear it, Marlo.
All right, yeah. As Casey said, I'm co-host of the 132 Breeze podcast. I'm here to represent the great Chicago Bears. Pretty excited to be here. Pretty excited to go. This is what pretty much me and Casey do on week-to-week basis when the season is in. Glad to have some representatives that can talk back for themselves on the Detroit and the Minnesota side. So ready to go here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll wrap it up with Miguel representing those Vikings.
The Minnesota Vikings, not to mention the presumed NFC North representatives. And I'll tell you why, because Kirk Cousins, if he doesn't perform, we're going to trade his ass. So, but before I get into the political aspect of it, man, I love the Vikings inside and out, man. I love sports inside and out. I play Madden like it's a habit. But with that being said, guys, let's have a nice, clean show. And I'm a Viking fan all the way out here in California. So thank you guys for having me on. And let's get to it, man. Let's have some fun.
Yes, sir. Like I said, love it. I'm in for another great episode with these amazing teams and these amazing fans. So first off, just gonna kick it off. I'm gonna let everybody talk about their team, any offseason moves, their draft, pretty much why they believe their team is primed to be the best in the NFC North or NFL overall this year. Then I'm gonna give everybody a chance, to dispute that, talk about each other's team and let them know why they're not up to par with theirs. Then I'm gonna give the guys 2 surprise questions, and then we're gonna wrap it up, or not wrap it up. We're gonna talk division records and overall records, and then wrap it up with them pretty much giving them a free period. They got 5 minutes to pretty much say or do whatever. So like I said, it's gonna be a pretty good episode, cool episode. So I'm gonna start again with Casey. I'm gonna let him start with his Packers. Let's see what he got to say. Why you guys think you're gonna be the best this year?
All right. Well, it makes sense that the Packers should go first because that's where they finished last year in the NFC North. You're defending NFC North champions, the Green Bay Packers. I don't see any reason why that won't change, or why that would change, here in the next season. Packers still with the best quarterback I'll officially say not in the league anymore. Shout out to Patrick Mahomes over there, but in the division, still the best, coming off a 13-3 season, NFC Championship. Nothing changed that happened. Nobody left. Nothing changed that would lead me to think otherwise. Brought in Devin Funchess, big free agent signing there, a big target for Rodgers to get. I can't get to the draft yet. I'm gonna table that to another segment. I just can't. I can't get through that. We'll talk about the draft later. it doesn't lead into this is why we're going to be good next year or whatnot. But the draft is something. I'll get a little bit of the draft. The draft is something that you need to always balance. Fill holes this year. What's good long term? And the Packers obviously sit here and said we are good. We're good enough now. We can't add anybody now that will improve us immediately. We're looking long term, making sure that we have a stable franchise. One of the most winning franchises in the last 20, 25 years. So I think that's the path that they're taking with the draft, and I can talk a little bit more about my reaction to that maybe a little bit later. Also bringing in Ricky Wagner from the Detroit Lions over on that side of me over there, bringing in the veteran onto the team, and Christian Kirksey from the Browns. Add a little bit of athleticism to the center of the middle of the defense that I think we were gravely lacking with Blake Martinez, who's probably the most polarizing Packer that there was last year. Some players out. Everybody's favorite, Jimmy Graham, down to the Chicago Bears. So good luck. Have fun with that.
Who's that?
Yeah. The Packers are an above average offensive team, above average defensive team. They're going to win this division again next year. I don't see anything that happened that will tell me otherwise.
All right.
That's what I got. That's my opening salvo.
Ian, got anything I guess to back that up?
Well,
I guess you guys were last in the division.
And you know what? It's okay. Let me tell you a fun fact about Matt Patricia that you all may not know. This is his first ever head coaching job in the NFL. Let me read off the first 3 seasons of, a guy like Bill Walsh, the engineer of the West Coast offense. He went 2-14, 6-10, then 13-3, Super Bowl champs. Let's look at Kyle Shanahan out there in San Fran. 6-10, 4-12, 13-3, Super Bowl runners-up. Why am I bringing up those guys? Because Matt Patricia is in the same ilk. He came into a culture that Caldwell was a player's coach, and that was his way of doing things. And Caldwell was a very good coach. He got us in the right direction. Patricia is in the entire opposite. He is the hard work grind. We're gonna do it our way, and this is only one way to success and all that good stuff. And I love the fact that Casey talked about Aaron Rodgers being the best quarterback in the NFC North. Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the NFC North by name only. If we are going by pretty much any statistical measure or a thing like a QBR, there was only one NFC North quarterback inside the top 10 last year. Anybody want to guess who that was? Matthew Stafford. Other than him, we got Kirk Cousins coming in at 13th. We got Aaron Rodgers coming in at 20th. And we have Mitchell Trubisky coming in at 28th. Now, listen, there are if we're talking off-season acquisitions, normally I don't like when we get former Patriots because I don't think that you do the Patriot way in Detroit. I don't think that's the way that to go. However, the addition of Jamie Collins, he is one of the most underrated defensive playmakers in the league today. His ability to both rush the passer and drop in coverage makes him immensely valuable to any team that he goes to. Do you know how many guys finished last year with 7 sacks and 3 interceptions? Anybody want to take a guess? 1, Jamie Collins. And you add that to a defense that, when healthy 2 years ago, was 10th overall in the league. Last year, decimated by injuries, whatever. There is a very clear trend here. There are less questions about the Detroit Lions than any other team in the division. We have the best receiving core. We have the best quarterback. It really can't. It's a quarterback league. The league is designed for everybody to throw the ball around and fling it for as many times as you can, as deep as you can. And we have the guys who are the best at it.
Man, let me tell you why the Minnesota Vikings are going to win the NFC North. 3 reasons. Kirk Cousins is in his final year of his contract, and he has proven to win the big game. He beat the Saints. Congratulations. And the Detroit Lions, I think we got a better chance of finding a COVID vaccine before the Lions get to the playoffs. Let's be honest. And the Chicago Bears, you ain't going nowhere with Mitchell Trubisky. Let me tell you that right now. That man couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. Now, the only complete team that I see in the NFC North is the Minnesota Vikings. If you look on both sides of the ball, the defense was top 5, if not top 10 last year. I didn't have to Google that like the rest of you. Yes, they did lose to the 49ers at Levi Stadium, which I went to, but they played better than the Packers did. They played with more heart. So to say it's been a long time coming would be an understatement. I think the Minnesota Vikings will make the playoffs with a 10-6 record, and I think they're going to make some noise. I really do think Aaron Rodgers, his best days are behind him, and the only player they have on that offense is Aaron Jones. But wait, let me give a shout-out to Devontae Adams, East Palo Alto native. That's where I'm from, But I got a lot of love for the NFC North fans, because it's hard being a Viking fan out here in Cali, man, when you got the Niners and Raiders
you got a bunch
going at each other. But man, really, realistically, if you don't think the Vikings are the better, more complete team, then I don't know what type of league you've been watching. But that's my case, fellas.
We'll wrap it up.
Well, yeah, no, I'm glad. I mean, Kitten made my case for me. I didn't even know I had it, but Matt Nagy going into his 3rd year as a head coach. Obviously, we're going to the Super Bowl by those matrix. So I just made me feel a lot better about the season. I didn't even know it. But and then back to man's point. Yeah, we're not going anywhere, Mitch. I can fully say that out loud as a fan. But good thing we got Super Bowl MVP Nick Foles. Sitting back there ready to sling around to some weapons in Allen Robinson and Gabriel. I think Montgomery, if the biggest question mark on our side is definitely that offensive line. I don't have an answer for that, but if we're able to make something, just make a couple holes in that offense, we can get Montgomery going. And then with the defensive side of the ball, getting Akeem Hicks back from injury will help free up that line for Khalil Mack to do his thing. We could talk quarterbacks all day in this division, but I mean, fact of the matter is, I think he's like we said before, Aaron Rodgers kind of on his last leg, doesn't really have the weapons around him. Up in Detroit, that's the only thing they have going for him, and they haven't been able to do anything that was for a few years. And all I have to do is say Kirk Cousins, and that's nothing more needs to be said.
All right, I love it. Making good. Y'all pretty much did all in one. Made a good case for your team, but also had to attack the other teams a little bit. So I'm hopping questions real quick. The first one, more I guess when I think of NFC North, I guess I think of defense because, this past year at least, because the Packers were lacking a little bit, 2018, and then. Ken said Detroit, they had a lot of injuries, and then they also last year traded away who I thought one of the better safeties in the game. But with the offseason addition,
let's not talk about that, please.
Yeah, I was like, we already know kind of what the Bears have on their side. Their front seven has been pretty scary. Same with the Vikings. And last year, Casey's team, they added, I forgot their names, but added the 2 brothers, or they had
Smith brothers.
Yeah, Smith brothers. Yeah. And then Ken's team has some few offseason additions that he alluded to with Jamie Collins. So my question was, whose defense is the best in the division, and whose defense is, I guess, set to give up the least amount of points this year?
All right. Well, I'll start this one off. I'll start this one off because, in the sake of making a good argument, you have to make an honest argument. And being honest about the Lions, to say that they have the best defense would be blasphemy. And as a former defensive tackle, I can't sit here and tell y'all that lie. I can't do that. The Bears, by far and away, have the best defense in the division. They have playmakers at every level that are just they're game changers on a different level. Khalil Mack he's not just a guy who keeps folks up at night. He's the type of guy that you have to game plan around him and still accept that even with the game plan to neutralize him, he'll get some things done. And on the second level, Roquan Smith, he is extremely athletic. He's a part of this new breed of Mike linebackers that aren't the 250, 245-pound guys. He's not one of those. He's a smaller guy, but he uses his leverage to get up under blockers. He can move sideline to sideline. He's excellent in coverage. And then on the back end, you name it, and the Bears got it. You got Fuller at the corner. You got Jackson at safety. You name it. They are the most complete defense. That for me, I can't argue. I have to. Hey, Marlo, y'all got it. Y'all got it. I got to give you that. I'm going to be honest with you. Y'all got the best defense.
Well, yeah, that's the only – I mean, you'd be honest, I cannot disagree with that argument. Yeah. That would be mine as well. But
how come nobody came on to argue for the Packers here? For the Bears?
Well, the last time the Packers played defense, they got ran over by an undrafted guy named Raheem Mostert in the playoffs. So the Packers have no defense. Swiss cheese defense at that. The Detroit Lions, we could leave that on Planet Pluto for next year. Now, the Bears have better players on defense, but if you look at their defensive backs, they don't have anybody that really scares you. We have Harrison, the Hitman Smith, alongside with, I believe, Harris. I believe we resigned, who probably led the NFC North in interceptions. And how can we forget about Danielle Hunter, the most underrated, pass rusher under 25? This man is a stud. Now, the Bears, again, they are one quarterback away from getting to the playoffs. But the problem is there aren't many quarterbacks in the league. Like you said, Kirk Cousins is the top 13 quarterback. Quarterbacks don't just come into your training camp and take over, guys. It's very, very hard. And we can thank the Bears for passing up Patrick Mahomes and taking Mitchell, Ryan Leaf, Trubisky. But it's a toss-up. The Bears have a great defense, but I just don't think they have the offense to compete. I drafted Tariq Cohen for fantasy purposes last year, and it was the biggest mistake I ever did. So, coin flip on that one.
I would say the top two are definitely the Vikings and Marlowe's squad, especially with player wise. If we're just looking player to player, pound to pound, I would definitely. Or hoping that you was going to argue for your team, Miguel, but definitely want to hear from Casey.
But the Bears have a great defense, and I got to give credit where it's due, so I can't be biased all the time.
Yeah, that's good. At least everybody's on the same page. It's like, all right, we'll defer to the Bears, but I feel like Casey.
I didn't want to come off as too big of a homer and just come out and say the Bears have the best defense, but it's to that point. It's a detriment. It's a detriment to the Bears as it is, because that's a lot has been our focus on that defensive side, bringing in Nagy, thinking the offense would follow, and it just hasn't to Miguel's part. And I'll tell you what, it's fun to root for a defense, but it's not fun. That's when you can all root for.
Yeah, I hear that. I was like, Casey,
I'm not going to make an argument. Pound for pound, Packers are better than the Bears or that sort of thing, but I'm going to make an argument that the Packers have the most impactful defense in the players that they have and the big plays that they make. When you're looking at Jair Alexander, Amos Savage in the secondary, they're creating turnovers. You got the Smith brothers wreaking havoc on quarterbacks. Statistically, I'm not saying that they're up there with the Bears and the Vikings, but I'm saying they get those turnovers. They just turn those into points. They have those big plays when they need them to happen. You look at the scoring statistics, they're not that far behind the Vikings. They're a little bit farther behind the Bears. But taking the ball away, turning that into points, that's what this defense did all last year and wreaking havoc on the quarterbacks. That's what I'm going to give for the Packers. I'm not going to say that it's better overall, but I think they're a better big play defense. More what the Bears used to be when they were punching the ball out and all that nonsense. But I think that the Packers have the players to make the big plays on the downs that they need to.
Excuse me. Can I just ask a question real quick? Because the Lions defense, we've made a lot of improvements and we've got some dynamic playmakers. We drafted a guy who didn't have a touchdown allowed or pass interference all year. And that's cute and good and all. But the Vikings seem to forget that cornerback is a position that's very important to modern day football. And as long as Xavier Rhodes laces up those cleats and cannot cover grass, I refuse to hear any argument about y'all talking about the best defense. I could get open against him, and I got two surgically repaired Achilles. That man is not – he can't cover grass. He can – what? Come on now. Now listen. Like I said, I cannot lie to myself and say, oh, the Lions have the most proven defense. I would say that we have the defense with the most potential. I'll say we have, if guys show up and do what they're supposed to do or what they're capable of at the peak of their career, we will not have any ifs, ands, or buts about it. But again, the Lions defense will not be the centerpiece simply because, as I've stated, statistically speaking, we have the best quarterback. We don't have the best quarterback by name. We don't have the best quarterback by Super Bowl win because we all know wins are not a QB stat, let's be honest. But the fact of the matter is, statistically speaking, we have the best. We against the blitz, against zone, against man. There was only 2 QBs who were in the top 5 of QBR against all 3 categories. One was NFL MVP Lamar Jackson. The other was, you guessed it, Matt Stafford. I mean, if Matt Stafford is healthy, if he makes it through the entire season, I have no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And if he doesn't, I feel better with Chase Daniel and what we got out wide than I would. Because if we're talking why the other teams won't win, very simply, I have not seen enough combination-wise when we're talking about the receivers, the supporting cast, and the quarterback from any of these teams. I just haven't. The Vikings lost Diggs, leading receiver. Outside of him, their top 3 receivers.
They didn't need him.
Outside of
him. We have seen him.
And listen, it's cute that you say that. Your feelings say you don't need
He's a prima donna, just like Percy Harvin was.
I feel that. It's cute in theory, but the facts say otherwise. Y'all top 3 receivers had 1,304 yards last year combined. Kenny Galladay alone, 1,190. Come on, y'all don't got the horses.
He's a baller. He's a baller, but he hasn't been the same Diggs as previous before. You can admit Kirk Cousins is starting to find his stride with Thielen, Kyle Rudolph, and this whole injury thing. Injuries are a part of the game. Don't give me this if injuries thing. The team with the better depth on 3 sides of the ball, offense, special teams, and defense, is going to win the NFC North. Right now, I would say the Vikings have a better chance than all the other 3 teams who I feel they're a draft class or 2 away from competing. That is why we gave Mike Zimmer more money, because we got faith in him. Now, the Packers, I'm waiting for Aaron Rodgers to just throw in the towel. I'm tired of watching him just sling the ball all day and watch his defense give up.
They're trying to get rid of
touchdowns. Oh man, it's worse.
One Super Bowl for the best quarterback. I don't know about that.
Well, yeah. And to your point, Aaron Rodgers last year, the last 2 years, I don't have the stats in front of me, but I sit across from a Packers fan all during the season, and trust me, he is not all about Aaron Rodgers and his play the last 2 seasons, and for good reason. It's definitely on a decline. There's times where he comes out and he does things that are miraculous, but that's few and far between. So I think again, I believe this is I truly believe this is a season where the Packers finally start their downturn, and then the rest of the NFC, including the Bears, will start dancing on graves for a couple of years.
Oh, wow.
All right. Well, first of all, Aaron Rodgers was the best first quarter quarterback last year. And then they had to lead. Didn't have to throw the ball. Matthew Stafford had to throw the ball there behind, just padding the stats, empty stats. Is Matthew Stafford the best bad quarterback or worst good quarterback? I think that's
He is the toughest quarterback.
He's right on
He might
that.
be the toughest guy.
I can't figure it out. Packers have proven you only need one wide receiver. You don't need more than one wide receiver. You just need the one. Monte Adams, then you're fine. Who needs three, four wide receivers? And a question for the Lions: are you going to give away any of your defensive players this year in the middle of the season for no reason, or was that just last year?
Well, I appreciate your concern for our defense. I really do. But the facts don't lie. Our feelings tell us Aaron Rodgers is a good quarterback. When we hear the name, what a good quarterback. Except for the fact that he had his third lowest passer rating as a full-time starter in his career last year. I mean, the feelings tell us, the Lions are going to be bad because they're the Lions. The numbers, the facts, the analytics, they tell us this is not a team to be slept on. And might I add, besides obviously the Mitchell Trubisky thing, sorry to the Bears for that, because y'all defense is so amazing. If y'all had a serviceable quarterback, I have no doubt y'all would be Super Bowl contenders. But that's another thing for another time.
We had Chase Daniels. We had your boy Chase. It worked out for a little bit.
Listen. Worry about yourself. Hopefully Chase don't. But anywho, like I was saying about our defensive.
Hawaii stand up. Is that where he played football in college? I forget.
Listen, as I said, as I was saying about our giving away defensive players, Patricia wanted to establish a certain type of culture. The culture is here now. He's got it. He's in year 3. He has all of the guys that he wants, that he and Quinn want. And like I said, he got some really good players at really great values. Reggie Ragland, Jamie Collins. I mean, he's got some good players at some good values. That's, okay. But at the end of the day, the Packers in this, you only need one receiver mumbo jumbo. Your running back is your second
Aaron Jones
receiver. And at the end of the day, we all know that's not sustainable. When you keep giving running backs touches on touches on touches on touches, they're human just like everybody else. At some point in time, something going to slip, something going to crack, and I wish all health on this young man. I wish all health and happiness on him.
Sounds like some voodoo here.
Until he plays.
Oh, man.
Hey, that's why you used the second round pick to get a little bit of backup.
They got another running back.
Now we have three serviceable running backs. I mean, down the end of the year, we didn't have Jamal Williams because he got knocked out towards the end of the year, and he just wasn't healthy the rest of the year. So we had to rely a little bit more on Aaron Jones down the stretch there. But I think that's what this Matt LaFleur offense does. It relies a little bit on the running backs, get them out of the backfield, making plays in the passing game. That's perfectly reasonable. Football in 2020.
Hey, listen, we drafted DeAndre Swift. I get it. I get getting your running backs involved. But like you said, you need a full stable. And as I've said previously, I don't see anybody with the combination. Aaron Rodgers is only getting older. He's only getting worse. As the Tim McGraw song once said, I ain't as good as I once was, but I'll be as good once as I ever was. Well,
sounds like an argument for Aaron Rodgers.
He'll be good once. He's going to have to be good for 16 games. I don't think he can do it. I don't think he can.
More if they get to the playoffs.
Exactly. More if they get to the playoffs. I don't think he can do it.
I don't know. It's getting heated, folks. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. We're gonna go from defense. Well, we're gonna talk about
defense. Okay.
That was defense.
We've been pretty much talking about everything. Yeah. So I mean, it's fine with me, of course. I'm a guess pose a little bit of an offensive question, but guys can go based off of that. In division, there's a lot of, I guess, when you look at the NFL, there's definitely a lot of bigger playmakers in different divisions, but there are a lot of good offensive weapons in this division, even ones that have just been drafted that, haven't, played a snap yet in the NFL, but are expected to do big things such as DeAndre Swift with the Lions this year. And of course, Minnesota, you guys got Thielen, Marlowe. I mean, I got Allen Robinson.
Allen Robinson.
I got Allen Robinson. You know, and Casey since they got still got Aaron Rodgers, but also Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones. So I just wanted to see and pose like who believes that who believes their team or not their team, but who do you guys think is the best offensive weapon or weapons in the NFC North?
It's obvious it's the Vikings. Even with the exile of Stephon Diggs, Kyle Rudolph, Smith Jr., the backup tight end. We got Andre Madison, I believe, is the backup to Dalvin Cook. We have, of course, Kirk Cousins, who, if you really look at it, the man's pretty durable. You can say what you want about him, but you may like the fact that he can play 16 games and not get hurt. The offense is only going to get better. I really do believe that the defense is going to keep the offense on track. But, I mean, Kirk Cousins has 24 million reasons why he needs to take care of business. Yes, sir.
You know, I hear everybody talking about health. I hear everybody talking about, injuries are part of the game. And you're right. This isn't even the first time that Matt Stafford has been injured. So, that's the thing. But you want to know what happened last time he missed the majority of a season? That was back in 2010. You want to know what he did in 2011? Put up his best statistical numbers as well as won 2011 Comeback Player of the Year. I'm sorry to tell y'all, this man is primed for a season like we have not seen in a while. It's ready. It's time. It's time for it to happen. And as Marlo said earlier, the Packers, because of Aaron Rodgers being on the decline, are de facto on the decline. And folks, the Sharks are smelling blood in the water. They're smelling blood in the water, and it's time to eat. It's time to eat with the weapons that Stafford has. And don't get me wrong, my answer to your question, Jelani, is Stafford is the best weapon in the division. That's not – he's the best offensive weapon in the division, hands down, bar none. But with the weapons that you've given the best weapon, this to me, Kenny Golladay was an absolute steal in the third round. Marvin Jones has balled out and done his thing as a second receiver. Amendola has been exactly what we've expected him to be. He hasn't been a world beater out of the slot, but he's been what we've expected him to be, a mature professional guy in the receiver meeting room who just does things the right way and who will help the young guys learn how to be pros. And he's produced on the field while doing that. So if you're asking me who's the best weapon in the NFC North, there's only one answer, and it's Matthew Stafford. I'm sorry to tell you.
Well, speaking of quarterbacks kind of feels a little bit cheating, but the best weapon, Devontae Adams. All right, let's just go with Packers depth here. Aaron Rodgers, Pro Bowler. Aaron Jones, Pro Bowler. Devontae Adams, Pro Bowler. Devontae Adams had just shy of 1,000 yards in only 12 games, a little bit of turf toe there. If everybody's being honest, Devontae Adams walks in as wide receiver number one in any team in the NFC North and almost any team in the NFL. He's that good of a target. He's that good at getting open. He's that good at running his routes. He's that athletic to make the plays, to get the yardage, the first downs, the touchdowns. He's the best weapon in the division.
I'm not. I guess I'm supposed to be more of a mediator, but I do have the Devontae Adams. I think he's like my third, fourth favorite / best ranked receiver, honestly. But I'm gonna let Marlo go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean I can't say anything about the Bears. So I'll say what keeps me up at night when my defense takes the field. And Devontae Adams, he's up there, but I mean I would agree with Kitten, like Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford is a weapon. He has been a weapon for a while when healthy, like I said. And I think he's probably the biggest, kind of wild card going into the season. Like I said, coming off of injuries, they did add weapons around him. So I would say of the NFC North that we're playing this year, I would be most afraid to face Matt Stafford, knowing what I know right now.
I will say with do you believe that – I know probably Mitch Trubisky probably day one starter, but what game do you think that Nick Foles comes in and takes the reign?
I would say by week 3. I would say within, if not after week 3. I'd between 3 and 4. It'd be less than a quarter of the season for sure.
What
if he does exactly what he was doing, if he starts the season like he ended the season last year, it's gonna be by game 3.
Marlo, what if we take all 11 tight ends and combine them as one player?
Sorry, there's 9 now. There's 9.
Oh, there's 9? Okay.
Yeah.
All 9. You can have the other 2, and they're one player. Would that be the best weapon?
It's possible because if you took Jimmy Grant's height, his jumping ability, it's possible.
Yeah, a Jimmy Graham who could still run.
Yeah,
that would be interesting.
Yeah,
you know what?
Okay.
There are a lot of very quality tight ends in the NFC North. The Vikings used to have the best out of all of them with Rudolph. Sorry to tell you, he's old and slow and getting in that Jason Witten mode now. But that Hawkinson guy, right? I mean, when he's up,
man,
he's crazy. I'm just saying.
Jason Witten, that's a stretch, man.
Hey, listen, you can't even use the word stretch in the same word. You can't even use the word stretch in the same sentence as Rudolph unless you talk about stretch his hamstring before you go out there. He's old. He can't do it no more. I'm sorry to tell you.
He's not old. You can't throw 2 footballs at once. That's why we got rid of Diggs because of the Adam Thielen. The emergence of Irv Smith, the emergence of Andre Madison. Our O-line is mediocre at best, but when Kirk Cousins gets clicking, he gets a clean pocket. He's as good as anybody.
Do all Viking fans feel
Jason Witten? Jason Witten, man, I'm gonna sleep on that one tonight because Jason Witten's a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Fame tight end. So I guess you're congratulating Rudolph with a backhand compliment.
Jason Witten has had a wonderful career. He has been a great tight end for many, but he's
broadcasting career too.
He's old now. He can go ahead. He can go ahead. Rudolph, go ahead and broadcast. Like you said, Irv Smith coming along, even though he only had about 200 yards last year. But he's emerging though. We believe in him. And listen, I hope the Vikings believe in Irv Smith and Kirk Cousins. As a Lions fan, I'd love to see the Vikings believe in that. I love it.
I can second that. Hey, I love any belief.
You gotta have faith in your quarterback, no matter what. Well, except if you're a Bears fan. But anyway, if you pay a man $24 million, you're gonna be manhunting him down to throw that football right.
That's fair enough.
It is. Last question before we're gonna head on to a few other rounds. I wanted to pose it to a few other divisions. Being that the other divisions they had a lot of young players, but even in you guys' division, you guys have a lot of young talent as well. And then also new coaches besides, of course, Zimmerman in Minnesota. Everybody else's coaches are in year 3, and then even year 2 for Casey. So I wanted to see whose team or who believes their team is best set up to be the most successful in 2 to 3 years.
Next 2-3 years.
Yeah, next 2 to 3.
Yeah, set up for the next 2 or 3. I can throw a hand for the Bears. I think they're set up. I think, this Mitch Trubisky thing, failed experiment that we're going to be able to get rid of after this year. Get the right quarterback in there. We got the right system. I think Nagy is the guy who is creative enough to make an offense. He just needs, obviously, the captain of the ship to be correct. And the defense is we're still in that 2 to 3 years. It's still in that defense, that window where we can keep those guys there and they'll be productive. So yeah, I think with those parameters, all we got to just get the captain of the ship, which I think can happen in 2 to 3 years, and we'll be on that path.
Yep, everybody been saying honestly, just got to find an answer at that quarterback position. I guess if you guys are as super bad this year, maybe you can get one of the top 3 next year.
Well, if we're talking about who's set up for success going forward, I would probably have to say the Lions with the Packers as a close second. And let me tell you why. The Lions have drafted to fill a lot of holes, but not only have they drafted to fill holes, they've drafted playmakers at positions that the game now revolves around. you've got an absolute stud in Okuda. And if he goes out there and emulates anything like what he did in college, he was not one of the best players in this draft. He was one of the best corners that they've seen in years, in many drafts. So I mean, that's you don't get that about every player that comes along. Then on top of that, the running game with Kerryon Jones, with DeAndre Swift, with Frank Ragnow. People laughed at us for how high we took him, and now he's being ranked as the 7th best center at worst by Pro Football Focus, ESPN. I mean, you can't find a place that's going to say Frank Ragnow ain't one of the best centers in the game. So then you want to talk about the receiving core, even when Marvin Jones gets older, Kenny Golladay is still extremely young. TJ Hawkinson was a rookie last year, and he's only going to get better as he learns more of the game, as he puts more muscle on that frame and still learns to move with it. Defensively, Des Trufant and Okuda could be a great cornerback tandem for years. And when you look at the safety position, I mean, we've done some decent things there. I deeply regret them trading away Quandre, but it's all right. We're going to be all right. We're going to live with that. But, yeah, we've done some good things defensively that tell me the drafting of Gerard Davis. I think that we've done good enough things defensively to put ourselves in a position where the talent that we have plus Matt Patricia's defensive mind will have us in a good spot for some years to come. The Packers are second because even though Aaron Rodgers is on the decline, I was very high on Jordan Love coming out in the bottom. I was very high on him. And I think that if they have a smooth transition or at least something smoother than what happened with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, they're going to be set up in a position for a little bit of prosperity going forward. And the Smith brothers, like you said, they're very young. The Smith brothers coming off the edge, they're very young. And Jair Alexander, one of the best man coverage guys in all of football. I mean, it's scary to see the way that he mirrors receivers. The only thing he probably lacks is size. So that's, and he's really good with his technique and playing bigger receivers. So if I had to say a team that's set up for the future, I'd probably say the Packers, second to the Lions.
Yeah, I'll jump in on that. The Packers, I think, are the best setup for the future. If we're talking about a 2 to 3 year window, that can kind of see out the end of Aaron Rodgers' career as long as he's performing well. If this drop is as insipidous as you guys seem to think it is for some reason, then we got an heir apparent in waiting that can take over in that. So I think we'll be set at the quarterback position, whether it's Aaron Rodgers continuing to play well or it's Jordan Love coming in, taking those snaps from a debilitating Aaron Rodgers or whatever scenario you guys have concocted in your heads. Other than that, this team is very young. We were the 5th youngest team last year. And the most exciting thing about our opportunistic defense is how young they are and how quickly we went from the poor defense we had before, how fast that turned over into this young defense. Kenton already talked about a lot of the playmakers. Jair Alexander, I really appreciated him highlighting that. He's been so fun to watch. But across the board of the defense, they're young, they're athletic, and I think they're only going to get better in the next 2 to 3 years. And then we'll see where it can go from there. So Packers.
Guys, it's obvious the Minnesota Vikings are set for the long run. Again, my non-biased opinion, it's a fact that Mike Zimmer did receive an extension. It's a fact that the Vikings did get rid of one of the top 10 receivers in the league. They don't take any BS. And as far as the Packers, let's be honest, if anyone wants to get to the Super Bowl, they might have to get through the 49ers. And I think Aaron Rodgers has won one game in California. One game. It's incredible. Look up the stats. And the Lions will always be the red-headed stepchild. I don't know why. But when you got two of the best players in Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson retire from that same organization, there's something in the water. I don't know what it is. But Detroit, I mean, the same week that they put the Jumpman logo on the Detroit Pistons jersey, that pretty much tells you everything you need to know about Detroit. Now, sorry. So Chicago, again, I get on Mitchell Trubisky a lot because I want to see Mitchell Trubisky shine. but it's not going to in that foggy weather up there. It's something about that man. He has the talent, but not the psyche. He's like Sam Bradford and Patrick Mahomes' body. But I do believe the Vikings are going to make a run at the Super Bowl this year. They will make the playoffs. I guarantee it. But how far they'll get, it depends if Aaron Rodgers wants to heat up again or become the best quarterback and fall short.
I actually wanted to ask Marlo because I saw him make kind of like a face when Kenton said he was high on Jordan Love. What's your thoughts on that?
I think it was one of the highlights of the draft for me personally. Watching the Packers go up and reach for Love. I mean, maybe it'll come back to bite me in a couple of years, but I'm pretty sure on this one that was a good reach. I hope that it gets into Aaron's head enough where it messes with his head enough for the next 2 seasons that he's gonna have to worry about some higher draft pick, and every time he throws or not has a subpar game, he's gonna be asked about, well, what about Love, and are we mentoring him? And we get those snotty comments in his press conferences, and all that. So my biggest reaction is it's a mixture of I couldn't believe they did that to I hope it doesn't come and bite me in the ass in like 4 years. And they have another smooth transition over to another quarterback, because then I'm just done.
Yeah,
can I say something real quick? The Vikings fan down there got a lot to say about Detroit sports. and I hope
it's jammed.
And I really hope that you're not a fan of all Minnesota sports, because then my question would be, have you seen any of your teams win a championship?
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about sports. I'm a Midwest guy. I'm a Cavaliers fan. I have.
Oh my.
So no, you're right. I'm not a Timberwolves fan.
Oh, okay. So you're not riding with one city. Oh, okay. So you want to bring in the jump man?
No. It's easy to go to follow the sheep. When you go against the grain, it's a lot better. Tell me how I felt when the Cavs came back from the Warriors 3-1.
I was a fan. I felt
amazing. But
I was a fan of the Lions.
That's a different league. We're talking about football right now.
I was a fan of the Lions when they were 0-16. Talk about going against the grain. Everybody jumped ship. Everybody picked the team. Even Detroiters picked the team outside of the line. I've been riding with the Lions faithfully, readily, steadily. So I'm just saying, watch them out. Talk about Detroit sports playbook. Watch it now. Why? Because I done seen my teams win championships. I've seen almost all my teams win championships. I'm just saying.
Jump man.
Oh man, all right, hilarious.
I just call him how I see him, man. Calvin Johnson. Come on. They were forcing painkillers down this man's mouth.
And
he admitted it. He admitted it.
He's a grown man with bodily autonomy. He chose to do that, and he also chose to break the record for most receptions in a year and most receiving yards in a year. So I'm just
Matthew Stafford's gonna break his back this year once again because he has nobody else.
Last time Stafford got a whole year to rest, he came back and it was perfectly fine to me. But don't worry.
I love Matthew Stafford. The fact that I don't love the Detroit Lions because that's one of the toughest guys out there.
All I'm saying is you opened up by talking about the Lions need a Super Bowl. How many of the Vikings got? Just quick question. How many y'all got? The Bears can make that joke. The Packers
just as much as the Lions, I believe.
What's up? Y'all got just as many as us. So why are you making the joke? What's going on? You okay? Is everything all right out there in Palo Alto? Is it all right?
Everything's amazing, sir.
But anywho, I'm just saying. My podcast.
Hey, I feel it. No, look, I'm attacking the Detroit Lions organization, not Detroit itself. Let's separate emotion from factuality. Now,
my podcast is called.
It's been proven that the Lions always play on Thanksgiving, right?
Mm-hmm. We surely do,
because they're always giving away an easy win. They're not a very good team, and they won't be for a while. Not until they get Matt Patricia out of there.
Like
Anything
I said,
that comes from the Patriots, it's washed. It's damaged goods. Only the Patriots can do what the Patriots do.
like I said, my podcast called Facts Over Acts. We're not called names over acts. We're not called used to be good over acts. It's facts. Going by the facts.
More power to you. I respect what you do, and I hope you get more listeners. God bless.
Hey, appreciate it, big time. I'm just saying, by the facts, the Lions need a little more. Put some respect on the Detroit Lions name. That's all.
It's kind of hard at this point, man.
Before we get into the records, I wanted to ask real quick. I always got a shot. It's like I call it like the Jason Mims question now because my guy said that Dak was going to throw for 5,400 yards. So before I get into the records, I always want to ask what you guys think that. Well, how many touchdowns and how many yards do you think you guys as quarterbacks will throw for this year?
Really?
I guess you can talk about both the quarterbacks. You can give Nick Foles his and also Mitch Trubisky what you think he'll do.
Yards and touchdowns or just touchdowns?
Both, yeah, yards and touchdowns.
Our typical Bears season, we're breaking records. We're going 3,000 yards. Yeah, 3,000 yards, 32 touchdowns.
Some of those got to be rushing. Casey, what do you think Aaron's doing this year with his one receiver?
Yes. Yeah, it's one receiver. Go with 500 yards, which is a little bit more than last year. Let's go 30 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. I think it'll be better than last year.
Pretty good. I think it'll be a bounce back year too. Kitten, what do you think? What's if Matthew Stafford can stay healthy for the year?
Oh man, like I said, I'm predicting another comeback player of the year. Number one, number two, I'm seeing and I'm mad that Casey took my number because I've been thinking 4,500. Ever since I realized he wasn't coming back last year, I said he's gonna throw for at least 4,500
in your head,
maybe even 5K touchdowns. I'm gonna go with a floor of 35, a ceiling of 45, and interceptions. I'm gonna say about 15, 10 or 15.
45 TDs.
Yeah, I see that. Like I said, just because of the way that our offense is designed and the weapons around them, I can see it. You've got two guys who they're extremely hard to defend in the red zone in Kenny Golladay and Hockenson. Kenny Golladay is a 6'4" receiver that plays even bigger than he is. When the ball is up there and it's a jump ball situation, he's going to come down with it. I'm not worried about that. Hockenson, as he gets better and as he understands the game and understands route running and how to get open in the NFL better, I expect him to catch a lot of touchdowns in the red zone. DeAndre Swift coming out the backfield. And then when you account for all those things, Marvin Jones going to sneak one in, sneak in a few here and there. So I see 45 being a good number.
We'll round out Miguel with this 24 million guy.
Well, hey, there you go. All Kirk Cousins needs is 24 touchdowns, at least. That defense is nice. Dalvin Cook, do we need to even talk about that man? That man's a beast. Jason Witten Rudolph, he's still a good player. He actually knocked the Saints out of the playoffs last year. So I think Kirk is primed. I don't think he will get an extension. I think he will get franchise tagged and traded after the year because our salary cap issue is pretty hectic. Mm-hmm. And we're going to go 24 touchdowns with 7 interceptions. Let's give me 2,800 yards at least. He doesn't need to be a gunslinger. He doesn't need to be Aaron Rodgers or Matthew Stafford. He just needs to be Kirk Cousins and let the defense do this job. I mean, yes, dude, I don't think anybody could have got past the 49ers defense at home. They were rocking. I paid $400 to watch my team get blown out before the fourth quarter, and let me tell you, I'd pay it again. But it's I got faith in Kirk. I mean, shit, $24 million, man. I'm gonna put his head on a billboard. I'm gonna look for his ass if he doesn't come through. So, I mean, it's a quarterback-driven league, guys. Let's be honest. Aaron Rodgers dominated for so long. Right now, Patrick Mahomes is the guy, but I just don't feel like Matthew Stafford can stay healthy. I don't think Trubisky is the guy. It's either Kirk or that's pretty much it. I don't see the Packers pulling off magic year after year. It can't happen all the time.
Feel that.
Also,
we'll move on.
We're not going to talk about the zebras helping them out with creating that magic, like that phantom face mask before the Hail Mary. But we're going to move past that. We're going to move past that because, you know, we ain't got to talk about that. Go ahead, John. What you saying?
Oh man, y'all are funny. I was gonna move on to the records. First, I guess we'll start off with overall, and then we'll talk about division records. I'm gonna let Casey start off first. I guess what he sees, predictions, how you guys are gonna finish out the season, whether you make the playoffs, and record within the division.
Yeah, I think Packers can make the playoffs. There's new rule, right? 7 teams from each conference.
Extra,
so there's an extra wild card. So I think it's going to be a little bit easier overall. So I think that helps a couple of the teams here in our division. I think I'm going to go with the 10-6 predicted record here. So that's a 3-game step back from last year, but I don't think it's going to be a complete tumble down to something that would miss the playoffs. It's a pretty tough schedule. We have to go to San Francisco, which, as we said earlier, is a tough place for Aaron Rodgers to play. As it is for many people to play. But that first place schedule, so the schedule's a little bit tougher than some of my fellow fans here. But I'm going to go 10-6, and I'm going to go with a 4-2 split within the division, splitting against 2 and going 2-0 against the other. And everyone can think that their team is the team that I picked to go for the Packers to go 2-0 against.
You're gonna let them wonder about it.
Yeah.
Let me see, Marlo, what you thinking?
That's weird, Casey. I got a 10-6 record as well.
For the Packers?
No, for the Bears.
Okay.
I look at the schedule and I think it's manageable outside the division. With our games. Most of our games are pretty manageable. For the division, this is a tough one. I would go 4-2, but to go a little bit against what Casey said, I'm going to say we're going to split it up. We're going to go 3-3 within the division, and then having majority of our wins coming outside of it. Is that enough to get in the playoffs? I don't know. We'll see. But I think at 10-6 with the new playoff team, it probably is.
Yeah. See, King, what you thinking?
So let me preface with this. We do have a very low floor. Okay, so we're gonna start with that. If there is an injury to Stafford and Jamie Collins, we could easily get a number 1 draft pick. We could easily get Trevor Lawrence on this thing. But now, what do I predict happening? What do I see happening? I could see 11-5, 12-4 coming out of this team. And in the division, I hate to be that guy because, I mean, everybody's already been so split on the division. But really, our division games, looking at our schedule, our division games are some of our tougher games. Outside of the division, the only tough games that we have is probably against the Saints. Other than that, everybody, I mean, we got the NFC and AFC South. So the Saints and the Texans, I believe, are the only playoff teams from last year that we're playing outside the division. So I mean, we'll have a tough go in the division, but everybody else, I'm not. I'm not going to be kept up at night by the Jaguars. I'm sorry, that's just not how that works. So yeah, I see us going 3-3. Or even 2-4 in the playoffs. I mean, in the division. But I predict us going, like I said, 11-5, 12-4, and with our ceiling being 13-3. That's That's what I think. Absolute max. Like we squeeze everything out. The stars all align. 13-3. But that's the absolute best I can see. I'm gonna predict 11-5.
That sounds like it's enough to get into the playoffs because
with the 17 playoff, absolutely.
So a range from 13-3 to first round draft or number one overall.
because I can admit that, at the end of the day, we can all pretend like our teams aren't one or two catastrophic injuries away from that. But look at the Colts when Peyton was rolling. When Peyton was at the top of his game, the Colts were in the AFC Championship every year. Either he was losing to Brady or he was getting to the Super Bowl. Then what happened the first year he got hurt? Number one overall pick. That's just how it works. That's how it works.
That's fair.
I can't argue with that. There's pretty wide range, but it'll definitely be interesting to see like which direction you guys are going.
If Stafford stay healthy, I know the direction. I got the keys. I got the MapQuest. I got Google Map put up for the Gen Z kids. MapQuest is something that old people. Never mind. We're not gonna get into that.
Are you going to MapQuest? Gonna print it out.
Miguel, what you thinking?
We are gonna go 11, 4, and 1. And I'll tell you why. You know what? 11, 5, and 1, because we're gonna tie a game to the Detroit Lions. They're an up-and-coming team, man. If we get into overtime with them, God forbid, we might lose that overtime game. All right, let me clear the sarcasm. I think the Vikings are gonna win. Give me 11 games, and they'll lose the rest. But I do think they will get past that hurdle of being that child that gets looked upon as that can't perform. But if Mike Zimmer can make halftime adjustments, we'll get there. But it's something we hung on with the Niners till halftime before they blew the seal wide open into the fourth. I really don't see anybody making a run at us other than the Packers. But give me 11 wins. No ties.
No ties.
What about in the division?
Come again?
Also, what about in the division? What the record you see coming out of the division? Like within when you play Packers, Lions. Bears.
Oh, okay. Man, I'll go a 5-3. 5-3. I think we will lose a couple division games just because the Vikings tend to get cocky when they get a little hot. Then they lost to Buffalo last year. I mean, the year previous, that was crazy. But we'll go 5-3. They'll sneak in with the new playoff format.
You mean 3-3?
In the division, that is.
Yeah.
5-3.
No, he's sticking with 5.
He gonna add in the 2 division games, boy. He gonna add in the division games.
You get an extra 2 out of somewhere. Oh man! Or I was hoping you guys would disclose. Y'all think y'all might get those wins and losses from.
Oh well, listen. I for sure see us. I'm sorry, but I don't think that the Bears got the horses in the stable offensively to piss a lick on that scoreboard. So I think that we can get a clean sweep on the Bears, and I think we'll split with the Packers and the Vikings. I think we'll split with them. But I'm sorry, unless Khalil Mack can do his strip sack and run it back impression multiple times in one game,
but you can.
I'm a little worried about the Bears offense. So I think we're gonna go 2-0 against the Bears, split with the Packers and Vikings.
So 4-2.
I can say that. I can say we go 2-0 against the Lions. if history says that, we'll go 2-0 against the Lions. We'll go 0-2 against the Packers, and then we'll split with the Vikings. That's how it's gonna go.
Yeah, seems pretty fair. Seems pretty reasonable. Casey, I think you said 4-2. Because I'm thinking.
Yeah, I said 4-2. So I'm gonna say my 2-0 is against the Bears. I just think we've had their number the past couple seasons.
That's
For
true.
whatever reason, the Lions seem to be really successful in Lambeau Field. I don't understand it. It is mind-boggling. They do well there, and the Packers do not do well in Minnesota. So that'll be my 4-2, just kind of based
split with
off
them
of
too.
recent history.
Makes sense.
Although I did say 3-3, so I would not be surprised if we split with all the teams. Like, I wouldn't be shook if the Bears just found a way, or not even if the Bears found a way. We found a way to lose it because the Lions love doing that in Soldier Field. I mean, all the way from the Calvin Catch going forward, we found ways to lose it in Soldier Field.
Kicking it to Devin.
Exactly. We found a way. We had it, and then we found a way. We found a way to lose against the Bears. So.
And Miguel, you might have to take the other 2 games off, but
Sorry, I was still pondering how you can go from getting a first round pick to winning almost 12 games. So you kind of you rewired my circuit board. I could see the Vikings winning. We're gonna have to go at least 4-2 out of the division. We can't win them all. But I could see the Lions stealing one from us at home during a meaningless game at the end of the year. And then, of course, it's hard to win at Lambeau. It's fucking incredibly hard to win at Lambeau, especially during prime time. Aaron Rodgers turns into the regular Aaron Rodgers. But, give me a 4-2 split. But you got to win at least 4 games to take that division. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's pretty, unique. This entire division was double-digit games won. So that technically would mean that everybody would make the playoffs somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I guess before we move on, to let you guys kind of, just go at it. Who are the 2 teams that you think will come out of this division? Or do you think 3 with that extra wild card spot, that 3 will come out of this division?
I as much respect as I do have for the other teams in the NFC North, the NFC West is that's an absolute, it's a slaughter fest. You can't. First of all, the team that may be the worst out of that division next year is less than 3 years removed from a Super Bowl. So in the Rams. So you've got Kyler Murray, who was a record-breaking rookie over there, and the Seahawks are going to be the Seahawks. As long as Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll are going, they'll be all right. And the 49ers have just exploded out of nowhere. So I think that they'll be the division. If there is one in the NFC with 3, it'll definitely be them. But if I was to say the 2 teams that are liable to come out of the North, I'm going to say the Lions, and as much as it, and I'm going to tell you, it don't really hurt my soul to say this. The Lions and the Vikings. And the Vikings, because, as he mentioned earlier, Dalvin Cook is a bad man. That offensive line is mediocre when it comes to pass blocking, but I don't know what type of magical juju they get going on the zone stretch scheme, but somehow they always open up enough of a crease for Dalvin to see a crease and show some skill. Like I said, I just don't. I think it's Aaron Rodgers' time. I think it's his time to just, he said he's in the back 9 of his career. I think he's on the last 2 holes. I think he's on the 17th and 18th hole of his career. And I think and as time goes on, is the quarterback position does lose the lead compared to other positions, but still part of what made Aaron Rodgers great was his escapability. So that's what kind of gets me going there. And the Bears, like I said, defense outstanding. Defense is terrifying. That offense is also terrifying. Like, that offense is just like, woo! Walter Payton ain't walking through that door, baby. I'm sorry. Like, that's just that is what it is. So I'm gonna say, if there are 2 to make it from the NFC North, it'll be the Lions and the Vikings.
That would be something to see.
That'd be wild. I'd be more traditional. I think it'd be the bunch of the pains with Sammy, the Packers and Vikings, if we're going to pick two to absolutely come out of the division. To get to the point, the NFC West has a ton of teams. I think the Vikings overall schedule is not that tough, and Green Bay always finds a way to figure it out towards the end. So if you got true Strom in me, I'm gonna go with Green Bay and in Minnesota.
Yeah, those are my two too. I think that Minnesota is. I mean, Ken, to be honest, you're selling me on the upside of the Lions. I just because it's the Lions, I need to see it first before I believe it, and I still probably won't even believe it then.
Hey, listen.
For that reason, I can't take the Lions. The Bears, I don't see it with the quarterback situation the way that it is. It would be. It's hard to see that happening. So I guess it's almost by default that I'm picking the Packers because I think that they're good. So it's by default that I'm picking the Vikings just because I think that they have they're stable enough and they're good enough to get to the playoffs, and I think that's their ceiling. That's where they're going to get to, as we've seen over the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
It's evident the only two teams that are capable of even making the playoffs are the Vikings and the Packers. The Vikings have paid off the referees in the past, so we have that advantage. But look at it realistically, guys. The one thing no one has talked about is chemistry. Chemistry is a formula that takes time to build with your teammates. I'm sure a lot of us played sports when we were younger, basketball, football. If you look at the Vikings roster, it has been intact with the same coaching staff and the same players close to 4 or 5 years now. Anthony Barr was roommates with Kendricks. Harrison Smith is still there. Xavier Rhodes may play like burnt toast every now and then, but burnt toast is better than no toast, whatever that means. And just look at Diggy Wolf paying Mike Zimmer tells me that he has faith in him. And when you get rid of a caliber receiver like Diggs, that tells the rest of the guys, hey, it's about a team effort. And I just think the Vikings have better chemistry and have had their players intact more than the rest of the NFC North. So give me the Vikings and Packers, and I could see them meeting in the playoffs for like a third time's a charm thing.
All right.
So, and we have too much money invested in this damn team to fucking not perform.
Miguel, they're accountant.
Well, look, I play a lot of Madden, so I do GM modes. So the salary cap is something I know your team inside and out too. Trust me, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do. We probably got like $2 left for a free agent. I don't know if you know that, but yeah.
If we talking about salary cap, do the Chiefs have a different salary cap or something?
Yeah,
right. They retired Pat Mahomes, record-breaking deal for sports, and they kept Chris Jones. How they do that? But anywho, at the end of the day, chemistry is important. But there's also another saying that I would like to present to you: familiarity breeds contempt. That's what happened with Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy. And that's what's ultimately going to be the undoing of these here Vikings. They have been together for an extremely long time with the same coaches. But the same players and the same coaches, after a certain time, equals folks figuring out the scheme. And that's like I said, the Packers are all of these teams are very good teams in their own rights. But at the end of the day, if I'm talking about why I think the Lions will make it, I don't think that the Lions will make it because anybody else is really bad except the Bears offensively. Like the Bears offensively are so bad. That's a very serious. But outside of the Bears, I don't think that you could get by without we're just not as bad as them on one side of the ball. But everybody else, you're going to have to beat some teams. And I honestly, if you tell me, do I have faith in whose quarterback do I have faith in? Because like we said repetitively throughout this, for everybody, it's a quarterback-driven league. And when I'm talking about whose quarterback do I have faith in? I don't do faith in quarterbacks by the name, because if that was the case, then I would have faith that Cam Newton is going to be an MVP again. I would have faith that Tom Brady and Gronk are going to go down to Tampa Bay, and we might as well hand Tampa Bay the ring and walk away next year. But I have faith in what the numbers tell me. I have faith in what the eye test tells me. And the eye test tells me that little bit of magic that Aaron Rodgers had, that just you thought he was down and he somehow wiggled his way out and launched his 60. That little bit of something is gone. That's what the numbers and the eye test are telling me. So, that to me is why I would give the division to the Lions. And not just because I'm a Detroit native, born and raised, miss it every second I'm away from home. I'm thinking about Detroit right now gets me excited. But the fact of the matter is, I got Detroit taking the division.
I love it. Love it. All right, guys. I'm gonna give you guys 5 minutes, pretty much to say anything, get at each other. There's something that you didn't get to, didn't get to point out, didn't get the question. It's pretty much a free period. So we'll give everybody about 5 minutes, or not give everybody 5 minutes, give you guys 5 minutes to go at it. So starting now.
Good. I was worried we'd have to fill 5 minutes each. I don't know how much more I had left. Look, Aaron Rodgers has to be out there listening to all these doubters and listening to how he's done and all this nonsense. And I'm just hoping that that's fuel for the fire. You can talk all you want about the match being gone or whatnot, but there's still, when it needs to, it's there. We still have, the magic is still there. The escapability is still there. No, it wasn't there game out. It doesn't need to be, not this off, not with that's running, not with Aaron Jones in the back, not with the improved defense that we had last year, and it's only set to improve this year. But this drop off of quarterbacks, it doesn't happen like that anymore. Drew Brees is going, Tom Brady's still going. Like, quarterback that we can go, this is the date that they should be done by now. They're playing longer than that. It's a new age. These quarterbacks are going longer, and I think Aaron Rodgers is going to show everybody that he's not done and that he's got a few more good years left in him.
Yeah, but the difference is Aaron Rodgers has Danica as his girlfriend right now, so that's going to eat away at years.
But does he?
But does he? It's already eating away at those formative years in the back 17 of his career here.
Hey, 17-8. By the way, 17-8 hole. That's 2 holes. That's 2 holes.
I hear you.
You've been drinking the whole time. You don't really care about the score anymore. You get, you let it go. That's where I have my best golf. Let me tell you. At least that's how I remember it. I don't think they're dating anymore. I'm pretty sure Marla was going to talk about this on our show on Sunday, but we didn't. They're not dating. The house couldn't keep him. The house that they bought together couldn't keep him together. So he's solely focused on football and proving all you doubters wrong.
Well,
now I got to look up what they actually did.
Well, all I got to say, the only defense that I need for why I believe my Lions are going to take it, it's a quarterback's league, and by QBR, one quarterback is 6th ranked in the NFL, and that is Matthew Stafford. The next in the NFC North is Kirk Cousins at 13. After him is Aaron Rodgers at 20th. After that is Mitch Trubisky at 28. Again, the best predictor, I learned this from one of my favorite English teachers in high school. Shout out to Miss Vicky Green. The best predictor of future behaviors is the past. The last time that Matt Stafford missed this much of a season, he came back and put up career numbers. So why would I believe that something different is going to happen when he has as good, if not a better supporting cast this year than he did that year? That year, he had Calvin Johnson and nothing else. That was it. That was all. Does Brandon Pettigrew ring a bell for any of you? Exactly. So, that's what the deal is here. And if he has a comeback player of the year type season with the weapons that he has around him, I have no doubt in my mind.
In the past, how many times has Matthew Stafford made the playoffs?
I believe 3.
How many playoff wins?
Once again, this is when. Let me say this. So let me say this.
In the past, that might predict the future.
So let me say this. He has 0 wins in the playoffs. But the fact of the matter is, wins are not a QB stat. If you ask me how many times he didn't show up in the playoffs, once. He performed poorly in the playoffs one time. Against the Saints, he lit them up. However, the defense pissed down their leg. He can't go out there and stop Drew Brees. That's not his job. When he played against the Cowboys in the playoffs, that Cowboys team was loaded, had a bunch of all-pro players on both sides of the ball. And yet and still had the refs called the face guarding against Anthony Hitchens, he gets his first playoff win and possibly more. But, it's fine. We're the Lions. We never get to call it. Sorry, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, if you ask me, what does history show you about Matt Stafford in the playoffs? It shows me he's going to show up and do his part. Is everybody else going to do theirs is the question. And I believe with the cast they got around them, with the dynamic playmakers they got around them, with the only player in the league with both 7 sacks and 3 or more interceptions, Jamie Collins, he'll show up and we'll be all right.
And that is time. Time. Honestly, Ken has definitely put up a big argument for the Lions that I just wasn't expecting. The Lions, man. So I will say, appreciate you for putting all your effort in, for letting us know why we should believe in the Lions. It's definitely going to make me have that Sunday ticket on and pretty much watching all their games this year for sure.
Hey, listen, I had to prepare like a guest preacher getting ready to come in to the 36th District Baptist Church. I had to really sit down and have a come to Jesus moment before I got on here.
Yeah,
You probably had the toughest job because Marlo pretty just has to deal with Mitch Trubisky in the offense, but you gotta deal with both sides. So I wasn't expecting it, but I'm glad, like I said, we had you on for sure. One thing I forgot to do, but pretty much we're winding down in the show. I'm gonna let you guys plug in your podcast and everything again. But it is also a tournament, and this of course will be viewed again by others and then voted on in the poll. So before we head out, like I said, you guys can plug yourself in again, but also let everybody know why they should vote you on to the next round of the NFL Smack Talk Smackdown. Let me see. I'll start with Miguel. I forgot Miguel again. They probably didn't even know, but I'll start with Miguel.
Thank you. Why you should have me on? Because I give you 2 sides of the spectrum. I give you stats and I give you the political internal affairs. You see, the sport of football has a lot to do with everything off the field as it does on the field. The game prepping, what guys do during the week. Being an avid fantasy guy, I make sure a guy doesn't, get a traffic ticket during Wednesday because he might not be able to play on Friday. I love sports inside and out. I'm a diehard Vikings fan in California, so I can give you a non-biased opinion. And if you have me on, I'll have a little more trash talk for you. And just imagine if I put the pen to paper this time. Thank you.
Ken, anybody can follow up.
All right. Well, the reason that you all should have me on in the next round and vote me forward is very simple. It's very, very simple. I was given the toughest task, knowing that the Lions are the Lions and what that has meant historically. I was presented with the task of changing that perception. I don't believe that I've gotten everybody to see what is coming next year from the Lions. I don't believe I have, and that's fine. But if I have moved the needle for the 0-16 Lions,
hallelujah!
The Lions went 0-16 more recently than they've won a playoff game. If I have moved the needle on a team that, we've made some bad front office decisions, fired the winningest coach since Wayne Fontes. If I have moved the needle on that team for you, you know that next week and the week after that and the week after that, I'm going to show up prepared. The arguments are going to be intense. I'm going to be ready. And just like my podcast, Facts Over Acts, that's what I'm going to bring you in this here Smack Talk next round. I'm going to bring you the facts that tell you why the Lions are going to win the NFC North and why we're a better team than whoever I see next week.
Already future smack talking. All right. Well, my son off, Casey, Prof Badger fan of the 132 Breeze podcast, co-hosted with Marlo. She had me on next time because I'm going to bring some takes. I'm going to be a little bit of Homer, a little bit of truth, somewhere in the middle, and I'm going to have present my argument, and I'm going to have quick little side comments and questions for my co-hosts here, the other guests, to make them have to answer some uncomfortable and dicey questions. And that's what I'm going to bring.
All right. Yeah. Following up with Casey there, also part of the 132 Breeze podcast. You can have me on because I am the lightning rod that brings along Mitch Trubisky for the ride. So you will always have that to continue commentary. But I will come through and let you know how the Bears will win, either in spite of Mitch or once we sit Mitch's butt down. So that being said, I know there's no faith. I'm here to bring the faith. Again, Marlo with the 132 Breeze podcast at Marlo JR on Twitter.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like I said, appreciate you guys again for coming on. This was another fun one, another great episode. Glad to find you guys first off, and then get you guys on, talk your teams for sure. So, like I said, everybody, make sure you watch. You guys, can share it, everything. I'll have the poll up soon. Make sure you vote for who your favorite Smack Talker was. You want to see in the next round, and that'll do it for the episode tonight. Appreciate you guys again, and have a good one.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you. Big
Thanks.
time.
Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win! They win!
Don't you open your mouth about the best. Or I'm going to shut it for you real quick. LOB.
Listen, we talking about practice. Not a game, not a game, not a game. We talking about practice.
Lewis gets it to LeBron for three for the win. Yes! LeBron James at the buzzer.
Pass is caught. Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Unbelievable! Vikings win it!
What was your mindset when you stepped in the batter's box?
Go yard. I mean, I'm a pitcher. Why not swing as hard as I can? I got nothing to lose.
It's nothing to man above. Don't put you in situations that you can't handle. Instead of saying, why me? They're saying this is what he want me to do. And Cleveland, this is for you.
The way we approach the game is the same way we approach life. You do the right thing. You make the right play. You make the right play. And in life, it's the same thing. What do you feel in your heart is the right thing to do? And you do that. You know, it seems so simple, but sometimes the simplest things are the hardest things to do. And I think it's just that.
Welcome to
What?
The game.
Me.
To me.
Here's Michael at the shot on Elo. The win! The win!
Don't you open your mouth. Shut it for you real quick.